What's up, good people? My name is Yassine Butler, and thank you for joining me for another episode of The Lab here on Good Cube Kitchen. This week, we're going to be diving into my own personal recipe box to pull out one of my signature dishes from when I had my own food business. This chicken and waffle taco is a little bit of everything. You get this crunch, you get this sweet, you get this spice, and it all joins your palate in a magical way. I'm pulling this one out because I wanted to thank you all for all of your support for my bid to become favorite chef of 2021. Because you have all been so supportive, I've jumped all the way up to third place, and there's still more to go, but I wanted to thank you in advance for all that you are doing by giving you this recipe that's really close to my heart. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is make our red hot mango slaw. It's super simple. Half a cup of apple cider vinegar, half a cup of mango nectar. The stronger the flavor of the mango nectar, the better. Then you're gonna add over 3 tablespoons or more, if you want it hotter, of some Frank's Red Hot. Get the Frank's, it's worth it. Then you're gonna microwave this for about a minute so that it's nice and hot so that those onions can get a little bit of pickling going. Then you're gonna add over a bag of tri-color cabbage mix for coleslaw. Or you can shred some yourself for $1.50. It's worth it. I'm going to put them over into a bigger bowl because I realize that's too small, and I'm going to hit them with some salt and pepper to taste. Allow the ancestors to guide your hand for this one. Once you get your salt and pepper in there, then you're going to get in there and you're going to massage it. You're going to give it all of the love that you have in your heart, and you're going to get all of those things nice and separated. You want your onions throughout. You want that dressing throughout so that the flavors really get in there. Then you're going to give it a taste. Make sure that it's nice and good, whether it's hot enough or sweet enough mango, enough salt and pepper. Give it one last good mix and then put it in the refrigerator for at least an hour to 8 hours, whichever floats your boat. Then I'm going to prep the chicken. Now, you could buy chicken breast. I prefer thighs because they're nice, fat, and juicy. You could go with already pre-done, pre-boned, and skinned chicken thighs. I don't suggest you do that because 1, they cost more. 2, deboning them is super easy. Don't be lazy. You don't have to get it perfect. You can take that leftover meat that's close to the bone, you can throw it in a stock pot and make you some chicken broth, make you some chicken soup. It's wintertime, it's perfect for it. So once you debone your chicken, leaving on the skin, we're not gonna waste all of that flavor. Then you're going to season them. And the seasoning process is super simple. First, I'd like to put a layer of seasoning salt at the bottom of my bowl to make sure that the bottom of my chicken gets some good flavor on it too. Once it's all back in that bowl, then you want to get in there and give it a good coating of your seasoning. You're going to hit it with some seasoning salt on the top, then you're going to hit it with some garlic powder, some onion powder, and then you can throw any herbs and spices that you like on your chicken. Then you want to get in there and give it another good massage. Really get that love in there. Now we're gonna make up our dredge, and our dredge is super simple. All we're gonna do is mix half and half of cornstarch and flour. That cornstarch is really gonna give you a good crunch without your batter being really thick and heavy. Because for this, you want a nice light batter, but a really crispy one. Then you're gonna season your dredge. Repeat, season your dredge. You can season it exactly the way that you season your chicken, or you can add another little bit of herb or spice in there to give it just a little difference in kick. Mix up those seasonings, and now you're going to mix up your wet. In order to wet this, I'm going to put 1 egg and a splash, like a tablespoon and a half of milk. I'm going to pour it over into my seasoned chicken, and I'm going to massage it again. Now, if you went light on the seasoning with the first run, then make sure you put some seasoning in your egg wash as well. But if you did a good job seasoning both the dredge and the chicken, you don't really have to. Now we're just gonna take this and dredge it, and you wanna get in there with the wet hand, dry hand method and really make sure you get in all the spaces. You wanna get under the skin, you want it to be a nice, even coating all the way around so that nothing comes out of that grease not crispy and crunchy when you go in for that first bite, because texture on a taco is absolutely everything. So once your chicken is nice and dredged, then we're gonna move on to the next step. Using a thermometer for frying chicken makes life so much simpler. So you want to get your oil to about 375 because these chunks are so small, they're going to fry it really quickly. If you were using full-size pieces of chicken, then I would suggest frying them at 350 because you need them to be in there a little longer and you don't want that coating to get burned. But because these are only going to take 3 to 5 minutes, really quick, in and out, 375 is the temperature that you want to get to. Let's just watch what it looks like for chicken to fry. I've never seen it myself. Now look at that chicken. Ain't that chicken pretty? Reminds me of Muhammad Ali, the prettiest chicken I've ever seen. Now I'm gonna pull it out of this grease and I'm gonna put it on a wire rack. I prefer a wire rack because paper, either tissue paper or parchment paper, they all can create moisture and you don't want a moist chicken taco. You want it to be crunchy all the way around. Make sure that you temp your chicken so that it hits the 165 mark. That's perfectly cooked chicken and that's what you want for this recipe. So the last step is to make up our waffle. Now we're not gonna make a real waffle, we're actually gonna make an Italian cookie called a piselli. A piselli is a really thin waffle-like cookie, so it works out perfectly. So I'm gonna combine 2 eggs and half a cup of sugar, and I'm going to combine these until they're really nice and foamy. This is an important part because with every waffle recipe, you wanna have some air trapped in your layers. Now, when you put it in the piselli press, it's gonna get nice and thin, but you still get a better texture and crunch when you whisk this up and it gets all good and foamy. Now you want to combine the rest of your wet ingredients. Now you're going to combine a 1/3 cup of melted but cooled margarine. Now the cooled part is extremely important and so is the margarine. If it's too hot, you're going to end up with scrambled eggs and you don't want that. Use margarine instead of butter, trust me. Then you're going to add over a tablespoon of this maple extract. Now the maple extract is my own little twist on the piselli because I want this to taste like chicken and waffles. Now when you get some chicken and waffles, you normally pour your syrup over on the top, and if you're at a good spot, they got the spicy syrup, which is why you add over the cayenne pepper, which I'm gonna do later on in this combination. But I want it to be really delicious, sweet, mapley, spicy. Now I'm gonna add over 1 1/3 teaspoon of baking powder. That's going to be your leavening agent for this. Whisk it all together, and then you're going to add in your flour. You're going to put 1 1/3 cup of flour, and you want to combine it in stages. I'm going to try to whisk it. It's going to make a mess, and I'm just going to switch over to incorporating it using a spatula. You want to incorporate this in stages because you don't want it to get too dry. So maybe your measurements weren't perfect, so maybe you won't use the entire 1 1/3 cup of flour. The thing I forgot to do was I forgot to put my milk in, and so I'm going to put over the milk and the cayenne pepper now so that it can all thin out and give you the right consistency. Now simply depress them. Preheat your piselli press, and then you're gonna scoop about a tablespoon into each, trying to get it right into the center so that it spreads out nice and evenly. If your batter's a little thinner, it's actually a little bit better because then it will evenly spread just kind of like a waffle does in a waffle maker, but this is a good texture to keep it from spilling everywhere. Now, this piselli press that I bought on Amazon for like 40 bucks does not have a timer, so you really have to gauge it by watching your steam. Once that steam starts to subside, then open it up, pop them out. They slide out super simple, drop them on a plate and keep making them. You want to do this last on purpose. If you do this first, these cookies will dry out, and once they dry out, you end up with tostadas instead of tacos because they will not fold without cracking. This recipe should give you about 12 to 14. Now it's time to assemble your taco. First thing you need to grab is your pizzelli. And if you did them just right, they'll be a little bit crunchy and they'll still be soft enough to be able to put your chicken in. You're gonna put the chicken in, grab a piece that's comparable to the size of your taco, and then you're going to put on your slaw. When you combine all of these pieces, it is an exciting experience. That's actually the reason why I'm doing a voiceover instead of talking to you directly. I took a bite of this and I just didn't have any words. I just wanted to eat. When you bite into it, the first things that you get is the sweet and the maple of the taco. Then you get the spiciness of that pizzelli, and then you get into the salty, savory of the chicken. And then to kind of cut through all of those heavy flavors, you get this slaw, which is mango and vinegar and spice, and all of those things play together. This is a world tour on a plate. The chicken uses the cornstarch technique of Asian cooking. The waffle is Italian. The slaw is straight up American. You put all of these flavors together, you're running all around the world in a single bite, and it is elevated. I really hope that you give this a try at home and you send me pictures of your tries. Doesn't have to be perfect the first time, doesn't have to be perfect the last time, it just has to be delicious. So as always, thank the good Lord for good food and good times. All that good is good cubed. Please support me in my run to become America's next favorite chef at favechef.com/2021/Yassim-Butler. Continue to support until February 25th, and then I'll let you know if I made it to the next round. But I know I will with God and your support. Thank you. Have a good one. Peace.